Hey there, and welcome to the Fiihr Factor, the podcast that shines a light on real stories, smart strategies, and the occasional hard truth about running a business. Think of this as your quick dose of clarity before your first cup of coffee. Let's go. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing a gentleman who's not even in our country, but he used to be over in Poland. His name is Bartek Borkowski. How'd I do?
You got it. You nailed it. It's perfect.
You liar. Well, it's close. It's close. You get at
Close
least a
enough.
B for the pronunciation.
All right. So the correct pronunciation is Bartek Borkowski, but you're seriously very close.
Well, it's not bad for a dude from Iowa. That's what I say. You know,
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Frankly speaking, quite often when I was still living in US, people wouldn't know the name Bartek, right? So whenever I
yeah.
was in Starbucks or in any place like that, they would write down my name as Patrick because they thought that's Patrick, right?
That's awesome because it's funny when I call a restaurant and I give them my reservation name and I say Warren, they write down Juan a lot of times. And they're like, Juan? I'm like, yeah, Juan. That's me.
Yeah.
I'm Juan now. So I just take what you can get, right?
Sounds like a name of the next kid of Elon Musk, right?
Yeah, exactly. So Bartek, you've got this awesome company that's called CreateIT, or I pronounced it CreateIT. So tell me about your awesome company you created and how'd you get started?
All right, so CreateIT or Created, both are fine. Used to be just another software development agency. So for the last 20 years, we've been doing custom software for the clients from all around the world. A couple of years ago, we decided that we want to do two major changes. First is to specialize in one of the verticals on the market, and we chose iGaming, which is a very nice buzzword for basically gambling online.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so if you lost all your money in some online casino somewhere in Europe, probably you used our software to do so. So that was the
Congratulations, you're changing the world.
yeah, you can say that, yeah. And the second thing that we decided we want to do is that we decided we want to be you would call it a one-stop shop. So instead of simply providing development services, we decided that we want to really understand what the clients are looking for. So we started with consulting. There's development phase, there's marketing phase of the project, and we cover all of them. So this is, in a nutshell, this is what we do. And I forgot the second part of the question.
Oh, that's okay. I really wanted to know. This is perfect because a lot of people listening to this thing are thinking about starting a business or have started a business. And I'm always curious about the motivation. Like, and I believe you have a partner as I was doing some research on you. Like, how did you and your partner, or how did you say, hey, screw it, we're going to go start a company? How does that begin?
Pretty natural. I do talk to a lot of people, and I really admire people who were having a 9 to 5 jobs, and at some point they decided hey, screw it, let's just have a startup or whatever.
Mm.
My case is a little bit simpler because I founded the company when I was late secondary school and early university times. So I've never had any other company. I never worked for anybody. That's the only thing that I did in my life, which is a great thing and really bad thing at the same time. Don't get me started.
Well, I just
And
interject. I think, that's one thing. Like, I have a couple of things I want to say here, but first I'll say the first thing, and
shit.
that is I really believe that I spent most of my life in corporate and working for other people, and the thing that you get from bigger companies is you do get systems and processes and accountability and measuring and succession planning and all this kind of stuff that smaller businesses or startups don't probably think about. So you're kind of getting paid to get a business education. So I think that is valuable, and that's probably what you're alluding to by starting your own thing. You don't necessarily have that experience, right?
Not at all. Not at all. The second thing is that since I've never been an employee, I didn't really know what do they expect from the company they work for.
Ah.
Uh, so I did that mistake that I thought that everybody who's working for me, my very first employees back when I was like, what, 23, 24, I thought that they enjoy being in a company as much as I do. I couldn't agree. I wouldn't accept the fact that they come to work for money, and whatever is above money, if there's any extra motivation there, that's great. But yeah, that's the major motivation, right? So it took me a while to learn it.
Yeah, that's so that engagement. Sorry, by the way, somebody was trying to maintenance guy
No
was
worries.
coming in. So this is the cool thing about podcasts. They're very much like, hey, this is the real stuff here. So I like that. Yeah, you're like, why aren't my employees fired up to come to work as I am? You know, and
Yeah.
it seems maybe obvious, but it's not obvious because you're thinking, why are they not as engaged as I am? Right?
Exactly. Why don't they do the things over the weekend? It's so great to do that project. What's better than that? Well, apparently there is a lot of things better than that, right?
Yes. Yeah. Like so that's good. So let me ask you then. That's a great question. So how do you, as an owner now, how do you get your employees to be engaged?
That's a good question. I'd say that depends on the level of the employee. So at the moment we hire roughly around 100 people, and you talk a little bit differently to senior management stuff, and you talk a little bit differently when you talk to specialists or engineers that simply do the coding. I don't
Sure.
want to say it's simple, but yeah, that's their task. So just to give an example, whenever we talk to senior management stuff, it's all about responsibility. It's all about putting as much of the tasks into their hands so that they feel responsible for it, so
Yes.
that at some point they wouldn't look at it as just another task from my boss. They would see the whole. They would see that this is the mechanism that needs all of the elements to be working. While when you talk to specialists, you have to make it very clear what's expected, what is the outcome, when do you expect it to happen, and
Hmm.
once you create a very clear matrix of your expectations and everything what's around it, then you create the feeling in their heads that, all right, this is what I'm supposed to do. I was supposed to do it yesterday 3 p.m. and it's today now, so I gotta rush because this is what I promise I'm gonna do. More or less this
Yeah.
this
So
this thing.
I think there's a couple things there that I would capture, just say it back to you because I think it's really cool. Number one, having employees that can actually solve. There's actually a study done. I think it was done at Oxford, and I keep saying I'm going to look it up, but I haven't yet. So maybe I should. But the point was that if you take employees that are making a decent amount of money and you say, what are the three motivators? And they tested all these things like bonuses and, all these different comp structures and positive motivation and all this stuff. And it came down to three things. Number one was creativity. So that can be creative problem solving. That's like you talked about, like, hey, here's a problem I'm trying to solve. I want you to think critically,
Mhm.
not just, hey, here's a task to accomplish. So creativity, autonomy, being able to take a project and run it from start to finish on their own, on within the timeline that you've set, but as they wish. And I think with the younger generation now, it's even more important because they want to, they work differently, but they're still getting the work done. So who cares if you do it from 5 to 9 or 9 to 5? Doesn't matter to me. And then the other one was buying into the larger, greater good of the cause, the organization. And that doesn't have to
Mhm.
mean, it's more than just making money, I guess. That can be whatever that kind of changing people's lives, whatever that is. So I think that you tied that kind of motivation factor in this case. And then you also think the other thing I want to capture, because it's so important, because I see so many employers and they're like, why are my employees doing what I tell them to do or want them to do? Well, in, for instance, football or soccer, the real football, you've got,
Sure.
you have paint lines on the field and you have refs out there and you know what's legal and illegal and what's going to get you a red card or what's going to get you a 5 yard penalty. And you know where the end zone is and where the goal is, and you have a scoreboard. But a lot
Mhm.
of employers have not actually told their employees what success looks like.
Yeah.
And I'm sure early on you may have run into the same thing. I know you don't anymore, but
Well, I still do make mistakes, right? Don't get me wrong, but
sure.
yeah, you're very correct. For the first couple of years, when I thought that everybody who works for me work out of joy and out of that greater good that you mentioned, greater goal, I tended to to be angry when they misunderstood what I never told them what I expect from them, but they
Ah,
still didn't deliver, and I was angry about that, which doesn't make any sense. But that was the case for years. So
yes.
yeah, you're absolutely right, Warren.
That's so funny. And you know, the other thing that I think we fail at as leaders sometimes or owners is we think we communicated something, a task or whatever, but we in fact we failed. Like either they didn't hear it right, we didn't say
Mhm.
it right. And so getting confirmation of what we wanted them to accomplish is pretty important part of communication. Agree?
Uh, Absolutely agree. And I tend to look not only about me and my communication, but also my friends who also run their own companies. Quite often, what I see is that they just send one sentence, one message on WhatsApp or Teams or whatever, which even I wouldn't understand what was the goal here, what is the task. But then they are like, yeah, I paid them to do it, right? How on earth do you? How on earth would that happen, right? It will not.
That wouldn't happen. I also like that your friends have this really deep voice. Like they're like, I paid them to do it. I think that's really good. Like, you know, when I'm the boss, I have to talk in a deep voice. That way they listen to me, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Be scary, you know. Be yeah,
Intimidation always works. Yeah, it's such a great motivator for employees.
of course.
So you
Every single problem could be solved with violence, you know.
yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I always just tell people it's like, look, because I ran a lot of large sales organizations. It's
Mhm.
hey, look, if you want to motivate people short term, you can scare them and really grind them and crack the whip and do all those things, not literally, but you can really push them and but that's a short term motivator. You can't do that long term because the good people will leave. The bad ones will never leave because they don't have any place to go. Nobody wants to hire them, but the good ones will then leave. So that's
Mhm.
kind of your choice, right?
Mhm. Yeah, and another observation that I got over the years is that if you look at your organization, say I don't know, 20 people, 50 people, whatever, I think that works for every single size.
Mhm.
If you don't structure the tasks that you delegate to your people well enough, you will find yourself in a position where good people are typically working overtime. They are overwhelmed with the tasks because they are
Yes.
good. So if you want a task to be done, you give it to them because they will deliver. And then the people who are not good and actually they should not be in your organization anymore because they don't deliver and they don't provide any value, they get money, they get paid. They're always relaxed, never stressed because they don't do
No.
anything. And that's actually not their fault. That's your fault that you create a structure which allows for that.
Yes. That you hit the nail on the head. You can't blame them for that. You got to blame yourself because if you didn't create the right structure and right accountability mechanisms, then they can get away with it.
Of
And
course.
then it really pisses off the movers and shakers, the killers, because they're like, look, I'm busting my butt over here and these losers are getting paid and they're just sitting around.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And yeah, who's to blame, right? Don't, seriously, if I was in that very position, I would do the same. Like,
Yes.
I'm doing the minimum they expect from me. I'm still getting paid. I won. I won.
Okay, so you got this company, you started building it, and how do you is very curious about this because you're from Poland, you built the company, and you built it in Texas, correct?
No, I built it in Poland. Our first clients were from Poland. Then we expanded to Europe, and then we expanded to States.
Uh, Okay, so tell me about international business. I'd love to hear what are there, are there differences? That's a dumb question. How do you negotiate? How do you navigate business in different parts of the world?
All right, that's not an easy question. Okay, and
That's
there's
a big
no.
question, so you can parse it up or just take a piece of it. Your call.
All right, so first of all, you have to. Well, I've learned it the hard way. When you talk to people coming from different cultural backgrounds, say let me give you let's for the sake of a conversation, let's have a client from Poland, client from Germany, and client from States for the sake of example.
Yep.
Um, and let's say you deliver the project, and for all of those clients the quality and the timeline was exactly the same. If American client, if he's not entirely happy with what you did, he will say, great job, thank you, here's the payment for the invoice, and he will never come back, right?
Ah,
everybody's gonna be polite, everybody is gonna be quite, friendly, but you didn't meet the expectations, so they will look for somebody else for the next project, and that's fine. I mean, that's great. Client from Germany, he would come to you and he would say, well, I'm 90% happy with what you did. I will pay your invoice, of course, but you should improve here, there, and there. So you know what? I will not recommend you for the to my friends, and I'll probably never come back with the next project. Yeah. So like very direct communication, very like straight. You know exactly where you are. And with the Polish client, there's a big chance he would never pay you because he will try to exaggerate the pain that he's going through because of your mistakes, and he will exaggerate the size of the losses that he's going through, even though there are no losses whatsoever. And there's a big chance you will go through hell in terms of communication. I'm only saying that because I'm Polish and I love Poland and I love Polish people. Don't get me wrong. So that gives me a position to, say those things. But all I'm trying to say here is that there are those different communication, let's say, strategies, styles, and you just have to learn it. Because for me, as a Polish guy, I had to learn American culture. And I had to learn that even though everybody's smiling and everybody's happy and everybody's saying it's okay, doesn't really mean that's okay in my standards. In my standards, if I got a feedback like, "Hey man, you suck," I know where I am. I know
Yeah.
what to expect, right? With
Yes.
Americans, I wouldn't. So I had to learn it.
That's
So
really good. Yeah, I didn't. And then and Americans would say, well, we like to, we like to give feedback and it depends on, like, we're doing a broad stroke here, but they would say, now in Canada, they're really, really nice and they'll never say
yes,
anything bad. But I don't know if that's true,
I think it is. I think it is. Yeah, the most polite people, they're always Canadian. That 100% true. Yeah.
Canada's a nice version of America. And
Well, you
America's a
said it.
nice version of Germany.
Yeah, yeah. The,
So
there are lots of also different things that you have to cover, like pricing strategy, for instance. Some nations or some types of the people, and I think you could generalize here. You could say that people from America, even though America is huge and you have different people there, you could say that people in certain culture circles, let me put it that way, they're either looking for the best value for the money, or they're simply looking for the lowest possible amount they're gonna pay, or they're just looking to solve the problem. And doesn't really matter how much that's gonna cost. I just need to solve my problem. So also you have to learn that. Oh, you're muted, Warren.
it's weird. My mouse just moves around on its own and it mutes me. So maybe I was going to say something dumb and my AI is actually telling me that you were going to say something dumb and it eliminated that. That'd be really cool. Of course, it would be muting me a lot probably. So I was going to say, I think that's really brilliant because, like most of my clients are not the cheapest. In fact, most of them are middle or upper end, so if there's a competing suite of goods or services they're providing, generally they're not going to be the cheapest. But I think getting that expectation up front and really I'm sure that's a good discovery process, right? If you can figure out what are we really trying to accomplish here. If you're going to paint a house and you're going to flip the house, the quality is not as important to you as if you're going to live there for 30 years. And if you got a house that's got the roof leaking, you don't really, you care about what it costs, but you got to get the freaking roof. You got to get the leak stopped because it's going to rain 20 inches because there's 3 hurricanes coming in, right? So
and whatever solution you're gonna get, you want that solution to stay for like next 20 years, because you don't want to fix your roof every other autumn or winter.
Yes, 100%. All right, so tell me about. I know you get asked this question 1,000 times probably a week, but so how has AI changed your business, and how do you see it changing business in the future?
That's a good question, especially since we are a tech-based company. We see ourselves as pioneers of implementing AI into processes. So the way I see it is that it already changed CreateIT in a way that we use AI whenever we do the development of whatever we provide to our clients. So By development, I mean software development, graphic design, marketing materials, SEO, etc., etc. So what we're trying to do here is that we are trying to improve the effectiveness of every single employee that we have. And of course, my take on AI is that it's still very early stages of AI agents. It's still plenty of room for improvements. So I think that's the process that will last for months, if not years. How to improve the effectiveness or efficiency of every single employee. But the other thing which we really had to do very consciously was to go through our processes and see, do we really need to do them manually, or could they be automated already? Like rethinking the way you do your paperwork, the way you handle certain situations, or communication between the departments. And if I were to, well, I don't really have exact data for that, but from the top of my mind, I would say the second thing is provides way more value than the first thing, at least for the moment.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so you're trying to figure out repetitive tasks and really anything that you is process oriented, and seeing if there's a more automated way to do that, and maybe using AI to to get 90% of the way there for maybe something that's creative or organizational or whatever, right? Like that's
Exactly.
sort of
Yeah,
the deal.
exactly. Think financial reports. Of course, you could do it manually in Excel. A little bit more advanced companies would use dedicated systems for that. But what you can also do is that you could have a raw database with raw data and use AI to grab data from there and craft reports in real time based on the requirements that you have at the moment. This kind of thinking.
Yeah, that's really good. It's interesting because everybody's got their view on AI. What I know is it's here to stay, and it's iterating very, very quickly. And that is, it gives us opportunity and it gives us threats. But the bottom line is if we don't, at least in our own business, use it for some automation and learning and use it as an assistant, then we're missing the AI 101, let's call it. Then I think we're missing the boat and missing opportunity for productivity.
Oh, definitely, definitely. What I can see right now in the market is that everybody on every single position of every single company, everybody understand that, as you said, AI is here and it's going to stay. It's not going anywhere. What I see is that I see massive FOMO.
Hmm.
So mm, don't get me wrong, but I would say majority of the companies, they claim they're using AI. They claim they review their processes and supercharge the employees. But what they really do is that they have ChatGPT and they talk to it from time to time, and that's it. As a matter of fact, from time to time, I run those AI workshops for other companies in iGaming industry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And quite often, I have a group of 15, maybe 20 people. And the very first question is that I ask is that, all right, I will try to gauge the level of your AI proficiency. So in your own words, would you say you're like advanced user of AI? Majority of the people say, yeah, that's me. Yeah, advanced user. And then what I say, what I do then is that I don't verify it, I don't test it. What I do is that I go through very basic things like how to create a good prompt. Where are the use cases of AI? How do you actually use it? What are the different tools than ChatGPT? And quite often, I have to say that after 90 minutes of those workshops, people come to me and they're like, that's life changing. You open my eyes. Like, dude, that's basics. And you said you're an
Yeah.
advanced user,
That was
right?
101.
Yep, yep, yep.
That's funny. Yeah, I think I did a thing in my last. We do a quarterly planning seminar for all of our clients, and we plan literally the whole quarter, week by week, what we're gonna like the 6 things we're gonna accomplish, and then we take those tasks and parse them out by week, put them on our calendars. Then they actually, believe it or not, they actually happen when you do that weird thing. But I did the same. I know it's revolutionary, but then I actually asked the same question, and I tell you, it's everything from 101 to you got the guy who is really a tech guy who's
Mhm.
who uses it literally for everything as a tool to really advance his business in a really super fast But then at the end of the day, you garbage in, garbage out, number one. Number two, because I'm not a complex user, but I know what I put in, the prompts and what I put in, and having data organized is going to give me a better output. I know that. That's logical.
Yeah.
And then we still have to, the human brain, I think, still has some advantages, because the garbage in, garbage out for AI as well. Like what's on the web, some of it's not true.
That's a surprise.
That's shocking. I know. I mean, I'm sure most of it's true, but in some form. So I think garbage into AI across the web, because it's sourcing from the web. But I don't know. Do you agree with that? Like,
I got a funny observation here. The modern web has been flooded by AI slop. It's like, it got so easy to generate content, meaning, text, images, even videos, that, again, I don't have exact numbers, but the amount of websites which are generated by AI is like tremendous right now. And what happens now is that the new models are learning from, web as it is. So it's trying to learn based on AI slop, which was generated like, beforehand, which means the new generations of those large LLMs, they're getting dumber and dumber. And the quality is actually going down.
that is really interesting. I hadn't heard that, but it makes sense.
It's logical. It's logical.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. I think there again, there's opportunity, if you're trying to promote your business, and then there's a threat too, just like with anything else. Okay. So where do you want your business to be 5 years from now or 10 years from now?
That's a very good question again. My thinking is that, in my opinion, services in software development, in custom software development, the classical model is done. It's not there anymore. I mean, we are still getting new clients, but it's getting slower and slower. What I believe is the future is productized or boxed services and solutions. So what I'm trying to say here is that our marketing strategy right now, and basically the strategy of the whole company, is that instead of shouting on the market that, hey, we got best developers, hey, if you want to develop your whatever online casino fast, cheap, in good quality, etc., come to us because we have best developers. Those times are long gone. But if you create a product or a bunch of products which prove that you really understand the market, that you really solve the problems that the certain vertical has, that's a proof that you understand what the problem is. And those people will buy your product first, and then will come to you for some customizations, for a little bit more, something which is different, and they don't want the competition to know what they're doing. So at the end of the day, I will provide pretty much the same service, but it's packaged differently. So if I'm looking at CreateIT, I've been running it for over 20 years now. But I think for the last 20 years, that was a typical service company. I think in 5 or 10 years from now, we're going to be products company with services beneath those products. So this is the plan. And the beauty of it is that there are no borders in it. I mean, if you get a product which solves a problem in a certain industry, it doesn't really matter if a client is from Vegas or Malta in Europe or even China, because the problems are the same.
Brilliant. I like that you're thinking about how to pivot your business model to the changing times, and being relevant, and making sure you got a market, right, for the future, and figuring out how to scale. That's awesome. Okay. One serious question, and three speed round kind of crazy questions that I ask everybody. So the serious question is, if you could do, and thinking about building your business, if there's one thing you could do differently, looking back over time, what would that thing be? So we can learn from your mistakes selfishly.
I was afraid you're going to ask this question, Warren. Because I committed dozens of mistakes, dozens, if not hundreds of mistakes. And whenever I realized I made a mistake, I was like super angry, depressed. And you don't know that, but we people from Poland, we are, in most of the times, we are pretty dark. we are not optimists. We are, we tend to be depressed pretty easily. But let me give you an example. A couple of years ago, we invested into one of the side businesses with Alex, who's co-founder of CreateIT, and it took us a while to realize that the partners in that business, they are not honest, and their goal is not to grow the business with us. The goal was to exploit whatever me and Alex have to offer.
Yeah.
And that was a really tough time for me. That was a really depressive time to learn that people you trust are actually not worth of anything, basically.
It's the
But then
worst.
again, yeah. But then again, after a couple of years, we had offered to partner up with somebody again. When it comes to the business, when it comes to opportunities for that business, it was awesome. But using that experience that we got before, we did not go for it. We respectfully denied, only to learn that a couple of months later, that very guy tricked somebody else, and
Oh.
yeah, we sensed it. We somehow knew it. So what I'm trying to say here is that probably I made all the mistakes there are, but if I didn't go through them, I would commit them. I would make that mistake tomorrow again. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah.
I think it does. The only thing I'll say is, Bartek, that's actually a pretty optimistic point of view. Like so you say, you say y'all are dark, but like that's a great positive way to look at it. And it's true. We all pay the stupid tax in some respects. And
I like that
and the other
phrase.
thing the stupid dumb tax, right? And
Mhm.
it's just, I paid it plenty of times myself, and I'm a business coach, but I don't have all the answers clearly either. But you got to test and measure and fail fast and fail forward, and that's the deal, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you think that the path from level 0 to success is like a straight line, you're wrong. You're wrong. It has to be like path like that. It has to be. There's no other way.
Total roller coaster ride. Okay, so thank you so much for your time. I'm going to ask you 3 quick questions. Here we go. Number
Sure.
1, if you were an animal, what kind of animal would you be?
Dog.
Dog?
Yeah.
Okay, what
Big
kind of
fluffy
dog?
dog. Yeah.
Fluffy dog. I like it.
Big dogs, they don't have to bark. Everybody like them. And if they do bark, everybody's so respectful in no time. So yeah.
I like it's sort of it's I have the power. I don't need to show that I have the power, but if I need to
Exactly.
use it, I got game.
Exactly.
That's beautiful. Okay, and I haven't heard dog yet, so that's good. Okay, next question. What do you want to be when you grow up?
You remember when I said I want to be a big fluffy dog?
Yeah.
So I want to have a life like a big fluffy dog. So I don't want to be in any rush. I want to be happy with what I experience the moment I experience it, and I want to have very low expectations from the life. As simple as that.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's great. I like that a lot. Yeah, it makes sense. And Maui would be a good place to be able to experience that, by the way,
Yeah,
right?
I think so. Yeah, yeah, it could be.
And then last question, what do you want to be remembered for?
For building something that actually changed reality of number of people. And I know it comes from the guy from iGaming industry, so I know how it sounds. But it might be that the change I'm gonna do is not from iGaming industry.
Yeah, hey, look, here's the way I see it, by the way. I want to just add this in because we joke a lot about it, but the fact of the matter is this is if people want to gamble, they can gamble regardless. So there's that. And then secondly, you built a company that's helped a lot of people, and you are an employer, and you treat your people right, and you've given them gainful employment so they can go out and spend money and put their kids in school and pay taxes and give to charities. So I think you should feel proud of building a company that, that has accomplished a lot already.
I am. I mean, as a Polish person, I'm pretty dark and pretty pessimistic. But I did have situations where, due to the fact that the company is operating on a certain level now, and we do have some ways to, let me put it that way, to grow people.
Yes.
And for me to see some of my employees who came to me a couple of years ago with some knowledge and some skills, and to see how they grew and to see how they perform now, even if some of them are not at CreateIT anymore, but I do observe them on LinkedIn and social medias. That's a best feeling ever.
Right.
This is worth so much more than any money or anything else.
Yes. It's super addictive, and it's so rewarding to see people grow and succeed. And yeah, you're right. Whether in your company or not, it doesn't matter. But you were the path along the way and gave them the tools they needed and the skills and mindset they needed to grow to the next level. And that's just good, clean fun. And that's a legacy
It
thing
is.
too.
It is. It is. It is. And those people, well, I like to think, I don't know that, but I like to think that those people will remember. So once I'm long gone, maybe few of those guys will sit down with their grandchildren and they will say, you know what, there was this guy Bartek, and he was a pretty cool guy, Yeah.
I love it. Bartek, I've thoroughly enjoyed this, and I just wish you the best in the world. And hopefully, if I'm over your way or you're over this way, we can grab a cup of coffee or raise a glass. I would love that.
I'd be super happy to do it.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Warren. That was a pleasure.
Such a blast talking to Bartek. He operator, smart, humble. All those things are so important. You can have a great idea, great tech head, but at the end of the day, it's all about the people and learning how to motivate people, hold them accountable, grow them. The most rewarding part of our business. And then pivot your company as you need to be able to navigate new times and navigate new times of AI in this case and where the markets are going. So it's so fun interviewing smart people. I got a great job. Liked what you heard? Let's make it real. Schedule your free coaching session today at sugarland.actioncoach.com.